Hello there, my friends. I wanted to talk to you today about overcoming grief by embracing it. Now, that title might at first make you think that I'm suggesting that you stay in grief, that you are constantly grieving because that would be embracing it, right? Well, that's not exactly what I'm saying. Let me explain. I have lost several people in my life, like a lot of you have. I've lost grandparents, I've lost a parent, friends, different people in my life. Losing my daughter was a whole nother level of grief for me. But whoever it is that you've lost, it's left a hole in your heart. If it is somebody that you loved so much, you gave a piece of your heart to, when they're gone, when they die, it's going to leave a hole in your heart. But we can also grieve different things. We can grieve the loss of a relationship, a job, a career. We can sometimes even grieve the loss of our youth. Yes, we can now. Unfortunately, not a whole lot you can do about that. But typically there's not anything you can do about all sorts of these situations that bring grief into your life as far as them happening. But what you can learn to do is to overcome grief by embracing it. Now, first let me explain that overcoming means to manage, to gain control over. It doesn't mean that you're going to stop grieving or stop being sad or stop missing somebody. What I have learned is that we must embrace the hole in our heart. You have to embrace it. You have to accept it and allow yourself to grieve. Allow some sadness. But here's the difference. You don't get sucked into the hole. You don't get overtaken by grief. So you manage the grief. It doesn't manage you. There are times when that hole in my heart, it says, hey, Valerie, it's game on. It's happening. I mean, I feel it coming up. I feel it bubbling up. This is definitely in regards to my daughter. I feel it coming. And I used to think that if you were going to overcome something, you would just put it out of your mind, you'd ignore it, you'd get over it. That's not it at all. What I learned is the best thing I can do is embrace it. I can say, okay, it's time for the hole in my heart to get some attention. And I've learned to cry. I didn't like to cry in front of anybody before. And I've learned that it's okay. And I didn't want to cry in front of people because I didn't want them to feel badly. I know that a lot of people don't know what to say if you're sitting there crying, and I didn't want them to feel badly and not know what to do. I finally decided it's okay. It's okay for everybody. So if I need to shed a few tears, I do. And that really helps me to keep from falling apart. And what's interesting is that it also allows me to have much more fond memories of the person I'm missing or the situation, whatever it is that you're grieving. You can think more fondly and with more joy and happiness if you allow yourself those moments of grief. Because if you don't, you'll wind up under the covers for a day or a week because you haven't honored those feelings. You haven't allowed them to come up. So it's really about finding a balance, because what I have found, I've met people who have been grieving for decades over the loss of somebody. So I'm not suggesting you get over them or you stop missing them. That's different. I'm talking I met somebody that had lost her husband 17 years ago, and I'm sure that was very devastating for her, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't be, but she literally didn't seem to be able to move past it or move through it, I should say, at all. I mean, that's literally all she could talk about. She was kind of stuck back in that relationship that was no longer. And I think it was probably keeping her from feeling joy and happiness in remembering her husband, because all she could do was think about how sad it was that she didn't have it anymore. And that's the thing we have to do. We have to accept the fact that this relationship is no longer, for whatever reason, that it's no longer. We have to accept that. But don't keep that grief part of this from allowing you to remember the person, remember the relationship with happiness, with joy, with the good memories. And yes, sometimes you're going to feel sad, but that's okay. That is the price you paid. That's the tuition we have for the honor and the privilege of loving somebody enough that when they're gone, it leaves a scar or a big, huge hole in your heart, that's an honor. So consider it an honor. Don't allow yourself to be so grief-stricken that for such a long period of time that you think, oh, I wish I never would have loved that person at all. If they never would have come into my life, then I wouldn't have to feel like this. No. Remember how it felt to love them and keep that feeling alive. That's what I do with my daughter. And my daughter's 15 of her 30 years came with a lot of grief. I mean, it came with ongoing grief because she was an addict. And there was a whole bunch of stuff that went on that was not pleasant for 15 years. But I just don't choose to focus on that. I choose to remember her with love and remember all the awesome things that she was, all of her qualities. And I try to remember what it felt to hug her and to hold her hand and her voice. I keep all of that alive with love and joy. But if I need that moment to grieve, I go ahead and do it. And I usually don't need that long. And I think it also helps to keep Jamie more present with me. So anyway, this is just a short, quick video on overcoming grief. And you can find out more about it in a book I wrote called Misery, You Don't Get My Company. And I wrote that about a year after my daughter's murder. And there are a lot of things in it. It's not just about losing somebody. It's about choosing courage and choosing peace and choosing happiness. The subtitle is Finding the Courage to Be Happy Again, because sometimes that's what we need. We need to find our happy again after we've lost somebody, when we've been living in grief. So I hope these words help you, and please do get a copy of Misery, You Don't Get My Company. I think it's going to help you in a lot of areas of your life. Remember, you're not alone. I'm standing right there with you.